Hello and welcome back to Scout Report, where today we are running through 3 players your club should cash in on ahead of the summer window. Let's get started. Memphis Depay. We can't help feeling a little sorry for Memphis Depay. After 4.5 years of stellar performances at Lyon, which yielded 76 goals and 55 assists in 178 games, or 0.7 goal contributions per game, the same production as Neymar this season, he finally got another chance to prove himself at one of Europe's elite clubs. On the 19th of June 2021, Barcelona announced the capture of Memphis on a free transfer, which according to his grandmother fulfilled a dream of playing for the Catalan Giants he'd had since the age of 4. Despite the arrival of Man City legend Sergio Aguero just a few weeks later, it was clear that it was the Dutchman rather than the 33-year-old Argentinian who was their star summer signing. And after the shock departure of the irreplaceable Messi, the pressure was on for the PSV Academy graduate to hit the ground running. And that he did. Despite the players struggling to fill the Messi-shaped void, with just 4 wins in their opening 11 league games, and 2 3-0 defeats to Bayern and Benfica in the Champions League, Depay certainly kept his end of the bargain. 4 goals and 2 assists in 11 league games meant that he'd been directly involved in 38% of their league goals up until Koeman's dismissal. When it came, it wasn't a surprise. It was clear that returning president Joan Laporta didn't rate the former player. They'd lost 3 of their last 4 games, including a 2-1 defeat in El Clasico, and had lost 3 away games in a row without scoring for the first time since 1987. Everyone knows what happened next. Xavi arrived, results picked up, with Barcelona leaping from 9th to 2nd at the time of writing. Players like Ousmane Dembele and Eric Garcia improved, whilst his new signings Aubameyang, Ferran Torres and Adama Traore have all made their mark. The current narrative is that Depay hasn't been involved, but that's simply not the case. He played the full 90 of Xavi's first 5 league games, scoring 4 goals, before a hamstring injury followed by an Achilles issue sidelined him for 8 of their next 9 La Liga fixtures. Unbeaten during that run, by the time he returned, Xavi had a settled side, and his new signing Aubameyang was in the midst of a hot streak of 7 goals in 5 league games. Depay played just 68 minutes as Barcelona took 18 points out of a possible 18, before he was finally given his chance against Cadiz last weekend in a much-changed side, 3 days after their shock Europa League exit. Unfortunately for the Dutchman, he put in one of his least effective performances this season, failing to get a shot on target before being replaced after 61 minutes. So why would Barcelona choose to sell Depay? Well, firstly, they've shown they can excel without him. Depay has played 158 minutes of their last 16 league games, or 10% of those available since the 4th of December, during which Xavi's side have picked up 36 points, just 3 fewer than Real Madrid in that period, who have played a game more. And secondly, and arguably most importantly, he has sell-on value. Whilst they might struggle to bring in his transfermarkt valuation of €48 million, given the fact he only has 1 year remaining on his current deal, Barcelona would still be able to make a tidy profit on a player they brought in for free last summer, and save on his reported €5 million per season wages, ahead of another window of thrifty rejuvenation. With Xavi's Barcelona playing a more direct brand of football, Depay with his desire to get on the ball as much as possible seems like an odd fit as a 9, and with Ansu Fati returning, won't be first choice on the left. Even his former coach Koeman, one of his biggest advocates, said last year, when he's a lone striker he tends to drift back too much. For stylistic and financial reasons, we can see Depay being sold this summer. If that is the case, his name can be added to the list of great players such as Zlatan, Griezmann and Coutinho, who didn't work out of the new camp for reasons largely outside of their control. Spurs are reportedly watching with interest. Stefan De Vrij. It's been a strange old season for Inter Milan. Expected to struggle after the departures of Conte, Lukaku and Hakimi last summer, Simone Inzaghi's side surprised us all by excelling in the first half of the season, with their 49 points from their first 20 league games, 5 more than they picked up at that stage of their title-winning campaign. Back then they were 1 point ahead of rivals Milan with a game in hand, whilst their goal difference of plus 35, 12 better than the Rossoneri, reflected the feeling that they were strong favourites for the title. But as we know, momentum was lost in January until early March, with Inzaghi's side winning just 3 of their first 9 league games of 2022, a period that also saw them exit the Champions League after a valiant 2-1 defeat against Liverpool. 3 wins in their last 3 games, including a 1-0 win over Juve, their first at the Allianz Stadium since November 2012, have kept them in the race, but it is by no means a foregone conclusion. Whilst few Nerazzurri fans expected them to win the league given the upheaval last summer, to let Milan aside they consider inferior to them, and who they beat 3-0 this week in the Coppa Italia, to finish above them for the first time since 2016-17, let alone claim a first Scudetto in 11 years, is unthinkable. It would result in a lot of soul searching, and the performances of various players would come under scrutiny. While stars like Perisic, Calhanoglu and particularly 36-year-old Dzeko can rightly hold their heads high after proving the doubters wrong, certain players, including most notably Stefan De Vrij, will face tougher questions. The 30-year-old has by no means been a disaster, but he's failed to replicate the form he showed across the last 2 seasons when he was named in consecutive Team of the Years or as Serie A's best defender in 2019-20. He's missed 11 games this year with injury, which interestingly only one of which they've lost, a 2-0 defeat in the Bernabeu. And when he has been on the pitch, he's been under par. Perhaps unsurprisingly in an injury-hit season, he's often appeared cumbersome and slow to react, and that's reflected in the numbers, with his interceptions per 90 dropping to 1.1 from 1.7 in 2019-20. And strangely for a ball-playing centre-back, he's often appeared less comfortable in possession. With his progressive carries of the ball over 5 yards towards the opposing goal, going from over 4 per 90 to just 2.3, whilst his long pass completion rate has fallen from 86%, 6th in Europe's top 5 leagues last term, to 80%, joint 83rd. As we said at the top, De Vrij hasn't been terrible. After all, he's marshalled a defence that has conceded just 25 league goals at the time of writing, a figure topped only by Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea in Europe. But no longer the best or even the second best centre-back in their roster, if Inter could shift to 30-year-old De Vrij, with 1 year remaining on his contract, and bring in 25-year-old Torino centre-back Bremer, who they have been strongly linked with, well, that would represent very solid business. Sadio Mane. The most contentious of our 3 suggestions, we've been talking about Liverpool's need to sell one of their original front 3 of Salah, Mane and Firmino for years. With Salah one of just 5 players in Europe's top 5 leagues to have contributed over 30 league goals, and Firmino's bit part role seeing his transfer market valuation tumble from €97 million in December 2019 to just over €40 million today, Mane is the logical one to make way. The arrival and instant success of January signing Luis Diaz makes this less pressing, and Mane's recent form has been excellent with 5 goals, 1 against Man United, 3 against Man City and another against Benfica in his last 5 games. But make no mistake about it, selling Mane is the sensible thing to do, provided they can land a replacement. Despite the increased competition, Mane has remained a regular in Klopp's lineup, playing at least 84 minutes in 7 of Liverpool's 9 league games since his return from the Africa Cup of Nations. He ranks 5th in the squad for minutes played, with Mo Salah the only forward or midfielder who can top his 2,426 league minutes at the time of writing. But in that time, his effectiveness is clearly on the wane. He's averaging a goal contribution every 152 minutes this term, some way short of Jota's 114 minutes, or Salah's quite frankly ridiculous 74. It's also a significant increase from his tally of 110 minutes per goal contribution during Liverpool's title-winning season. Mane has been a fantastic servant to Liverpool, there's no doubt about it, an all-time great, but his powers are clearly on the wane. His tally of 4.4 shot-creating actions, either a shot or chance created per 90 is solid, but it's not only below Salah's 6.5, Diaz's 5.2 and Jota's 4.9, but also Trent's 4.5. He's also becoming a less effective member of Liverpool's front foot defensive unit, with his successful pressures falling from 5.1 in 2021 to 4.5 this term, whilst his pressure success rate has fallen to 31%, 3% lower than new boy Diaz. Given the fact they don't really have an in-house replacement, let alone his otherworldly performances, Liverpool can't really afford to let Mo Salah leave. But whilst the talk is that the Reds will also look to extend Mane's contract, he's certainly more expendable given the fact Jota and most notably Diaz can play off the left wing. The 5-year deal he signed in 2018 sees him earn a reported £100,000 per week. According to SpotRack, this is the 12th highest wage in Liverpool's squad. Given his key role in their Champions League and Premier League triumphs, not to mention contribution to this season and 4th place finish in the 2019 Ballon d'Or, it wouldn't be surprising if he asked for a significant pay rise. Can Liverpool afford to keep 3 forwards who will all be over the age of 30 by this summer, especially given Salah's rumoured €480,000 per week wage demands? We really don't think so. There would be no point selling Mane with Man City looking to sign striking sensation Erling Haaland unless a replacement was lined up. We'd suggest any potential target should be significantly younger, positionally versatile and crucially able to play centrally. Step forward Christopher Nkunku. With 49 goals and assists in 44 games so far this season, 24-year-old Nkunku is quite simply one of the form players in the whole of Europe. Having excelled in the Champions League, broken into the French national setup and been developed in a system not dissimilar to Klopp's, he feels like the archetype Liverpool signing. With reports this week that he could be available for just €60 million, €26 million less than Mane's transfer market valuation, it would be another example of a cold, calculated, emotionless decision that has helped create the Liverpool we know today. So guys, that was our rundown of 3 players your club should cash in on. What did you guys think of our suggestion that Liverpool should in fact sell Sadio Mane? And no, it's a little bit controversial, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please smash that subscribe button for more great European content, and I'll catch you next time.